Hi, everyone. This is Willie Crawford, and I'm joining George.stavrou today on this Facebook Live. George is into health and fitness. He's a health and fitness expert whom I've been helping work on a launch for the past year, actually. And so now my role is to help him to recruit affiliates and do a lot of other things like that. But another reason I'm involved in the project is that I've really noticed that a lot of online marketers in particular are people who spend all day sitting on Facebook, that they don't get enough exercise, they don't eat properly, things like that. So we have basically an epidemic in much of the Western world. People leading less healthy lives. We're wealthier than we've ever been, best technology and everything, and yet we're in really, really poor health. So I wanted to help to get the word out for that reason too, help my subscribers to get healthy. And so we're doing this series of Facebook Lives to give you a sample of what's in George's course, which is called the Stavrou Method. It's a 12-week, day-by-day guide to health, wellness, and fat loss for all levels. And George package takes a holistic approach to optimal health and wellness and has contributions from over 20 experts. He, along with his team of experts, cover the following areas: physical health, mental health, spiritual health, emotional health, financial health, and relationships, and that's with ourselves and others. So we'll be doing Facebook Live on a weekly basis, and then we'll be sticking around afterwards to answer any questions you may have. I am referring to my notes because that's better than trusting my memory. The live will normally be held on Saturdays at noon Eastern, and each segment will last for approximately 30 minutes. I get some fantastic tips from George from each of the chapters in his incredible online health and wellness package. And if you're not able to attend, don't worry, because we'll have the recordings available for you for future reference. You can also send in your questions ahead of time or afterwards even, and we will do our best to answer those during the training. George's email is george.stavrou@rogers.com, george.stavrou@rogers.com. And I'm at willie.crawford@gmail.com, willie.crawford@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you on our Facebook Lives and helping you with your health and wellness goals. And we encourage you actually to invite your friends to tune in too. Thank you.
Yep. Willie, thanks for a great intro as always. I certainly appreciate all your assistance in the past year and get the package up and running. And we're very close to actually opening up the shopping cart on this. So today's Facebook session is actually geared more towards a holiday that's going on in Canada right now. It's our Thanksgiving, and in the US, our counterparts over there celebrate a month from now. But it's tips that you can apply not just to say Thanksgiving, but any holiday season throughout the year. So what I'm going to be looking at today is just more damage control as far as when we're getting together with loved ones and enjoying ourselves. So personally, it's like I know that I'm off of my particular regime this weekend just because I am enjoying that extra time with the loved ones. But at the same time, I don't want to cause too much damage where it's so hard to come back from it that it's going to affect, say, the rest of the week or stuff like that. So one of the important things that I'm going to be covering today is consuming, say, fiber-rich foods during your meal. And there's a website that I posted a link to, so I'm grabbing the information from there. It's healthline.com. So fiber, I'm just going to read some of the information that they have on their site to give people a bit more information on the importance of fiber and why we should be consuming fiber-rich foods in our diet on a regular basis. So just bear with me a moment while the site does come up. So, a moment. Okay, so this is taken verbatim from their site. And sorry guys, my screen just jumped a little bit. Okay. So fiber is incredibly important. It leaves your stomach, technical glitches, not good at all. So it leaves your stomach undigested and ends up in your colon where it feeds friendly gut bacteria, leading to various health benefits. Certain types of fiber may also promote weight loss, lower blood sugar levels, and fight constipation. The recommended The is relatively easy. But food into your diet that have a high percent of you are actually on the limit. I would not recommend to so I'm not saying don't have any of the treats by any means, but if you're already at half capacity, there's going to be less space for the other stuff. So this way you really don't have to watch how many calories you're taking in or being too strict about it. So like even if you can consume, say, 50% of fiber-rich foods and then the other 50% just have a little bit of leeway, you're still going to be better off than rather than having the no fiber-rich foods whatsoever. Fiber-rich food, we can find it in tons of different places. So here's just a short list from their site. So we're looking at, you can have pears, strawberries, avocado, raspberries. Basically, it's like, I'd suggest going for, say, leafy green vegetables as well. That tends to have a fair amount of fiber in it. And it's going to be just lower on the calorie side of things as well. A few more other items here. So we're looking at beets, carrots. That's certainly a good start. So one of the things that I've learned over the years, since I was a teenager, is start off every meal with, say, a small salad. So it's actually going to provide the fiber and the roughage that you need, not only to fill you up a little bit more, but to help with the digestion of the heavier foods that you're eating. If you have, say, a big steak or a roast beef or something on its own, you're going to need certain enzymes to break it down. So just the steak by itself, it's an extra strain on your system. So that's another benefit to having a higher fiber start to the day.
That makes sense. And I also would think that the water would satiate you somewhat too, so you would be inclined to eat less just from drinking a sufficient amount of water.
Definitely, yeah, that's a good point. And one of the things I've noticed is a lot of times people think that they're hungry, but they may actually be thirsty. So I would say start off by drinking water. Water can be a little bit bland on its own. So even if you just squeeze the juice of, say, a lemon or a lime in there, that'll just kind of offset the blandness. It will fill you up a little bit more. And if you find that your stomach is still growling, then at that point, get some food into your system. Yep, that's a very good point, Willie. Sometimes we could be dehydrated, which is certainly a big thing that's going to affect our health.
Yes, I personally have no problem drinking lots of water. I carry a water bottle around with me all day, and I do put lemon in it because lemon also makes your body more alkaline.
Definitely. Yeah. And here's a general guideline as far as, say, water intake. So take your weight in pounds, divide it by 2, and that's how many ounces you should be consuming. A tip that I learned years ago, like, based on somebody my size, I should be drinking, say, 15 to 16 8-ounce glasses of pure water daily. I find that I'm just lazy when it comes to actually counting how many cups that I'm drinking. So what I tend to do is I have a large water bottle that's about, say, a liter, and then I just pour my cups into that. So when I get through the water bottle, then I'm good for the day. So it's a nice visual to see where I'm at. If I'm just drinking water from a fountain, I've got no idea what I'm putting into my body, and more often than not, we're not getting in enough fluids as it is. But here's basically a caveat when it comes to that as well. So a little bit of water during the meal will actually facilitate digestion. It just kind of, makes the pipes a little bit more slippery. But at the same time, I would recommend having your fluid intake, say, about 15 minutes before each meal. This way, it does not interfere with your own digestive juices. If you dilute it too much, then you won't be able to break down the food as well, rather than just having the water or other liquids separate from a meal. So that is certainly be a helpful tip if people find that just food doesn't sit well when they're eating, or it just lays around for longer than what they expect. Any questions that you
often wondered about that, about the water diluting the digestive juices.
So I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I often wonder, if too much water would dilute the digestive juices a lot.
It definitely does. Yeah. And sometimes you have to experiment with a little bit as well. Some people have more stomach acid and more enzymes in their body to begin with. So they may be able to get away with a little bit more fluid during the meal. But I say err on the side of caution and give yourself about 15 to 20 minutes of just your last full cup of water or beverage and go from there. And then if you find that you need something to kind of wash your food down, a little bit of a sip or something will certainly help out. But I would not recommend chugging glass of water or any other beverage with the meal itself. For the most part, try to keep it as separate as you possibly can.
Yeah, I actually go to a lot of restaurants where they are constantly filling your drinking glass with whatever beverage too, so they are not helping.
That's right. Yeah. And another thing to watch out for, as far as the foods that we're eating this time of year, I'm certainly a big believer in treating ourselves as well. That's a big part of the Stavrou method, the way that it's set up. I find that people just deprive themselves too much. They could potentially fall off the wagon, and it's very challenging for them to get back on it. So if somebody knows that there's a special occasion coming up, just plan for it more than anything else. It makes it a little bit easier to stay on it. And it's something that we addressed in a previous Facebook Live, where it's a 5 to 6 steps forward during the week, maybe 1 to 2 steps back, and you're better off in the long run. If somebody's dealing with some kind of major illnesses or diseases where they have to be, say, super strict with their nutrition, or if they're a professional athlete where that one bad meal could affect an upcoming performance, that's a different thing. But in that case, I would say speak to your healthcare professional or people on your holistic team and get their feedback and find out what's best for you. But generally speaking, if you do know that you are going to treat yourself, it's certainly easier to stay on top of things.
That makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And another thing to watch out for is those that are, say, currently diabetic or maybe even pre-diabetic. It's basically, say, the sugar content of the food. So if you're having something like to satisfy your sweet tooth, I would say it's don't have it in and of itself. The whole idea is to combine it with other things. So if you have something that, say, is fiber rich, that has some healthy fats and proteins, and then you have something sweet afterwards, that's going to slow down the absorption of the sugar into your system. That's something to kind of keep an eye on. What some people may want to do is just get one of those blood sugar monitors and see what the blood sugar level is like prior to eating, say, sweet food on its own, after having the sweet food on its own, and then repeating the test, but having a small amount of healthy food prior to that, as far as the healthy fat, fiber, and some good source of protein, and just compare where the sugar levels are. And you're going to see that it's just going to affect your overall health a lot better, and just less things you have to watch out for in the long run.
That makes sense.
Willie, how's our time looking here? We've been at it for about, say, 15 minutes or so.
Yes, about 15 minutes, and I was glancing at the timeline, didn't see anyone posting comments or whatever.
Okay. Well, we can still keep going on about this and give another few minutes. If we do have any questions, certainly happy to address that. Did you have any particular questions that you wanted to cover as far as healthier eating right around the holiday season?
I eat a lot of raw fruits and vegetables, so I'm very conscious of pesticides and things like that in my food too. I don't know how certain foods are just treated with so much pesticides that they're more unhealthy than others. But so I tend to actually buy organic a lot myself, and I grow up on my own too.
You actually brought up a good point, and I'm going to include a link in the description box when we convert this to a video later, because there's the dirty dozen. So those are the foods that, even that they're so-called healthy in its natural state, they get sprayed with a lot of pesticides. So generally speaking, when you're looking at, say, fruits and vegetables, the thinner the skin, the more likely that the pesticides are going to actually get into the food itself. If it's something with a thicker skin, people don't have to be concerned as much. So if you have a choice, say, between grapes or a banana, bananas are very thick skin. We're basically taking the skin off the fruit to get at the fleshy part of the fruit. But grapes, you eat the whole thing in and of itself. So, that's a great point you brought up. So there's the Dirty Dozen, there's also the Clean 15. So, while the Dirty Dozen, there are benefits to some of those foods, you still have to do your due diligence and watch out for, where the foods are being brought in from. If you get locally, chances are it's going to be less likely to be sprayed with pesticides because it just has less of a distance to travel to get to the grocery store. But, if they can take your approach as far as having their own garden, that will certainly do wonders for a person's overall health.
And I also try to shop local too, just because a lot of fruits and vegetables are picked not at their peak ripeness, so they're shipped, green, and they gas them or whatever to ripen them in transit. So I like to buy stuff that was ripened on the vines.
Yeah, that's an amazing point. And, this is something I learned from one of the contributors to the package. They're saying eat foods that are in season because you figure there's a certain cycle in nature. And my brother actually works in a produce department, so we're certainly aware of what's in season and what's not. So if it's in season, chances are we can get it locally. If it's not in season, it's getting shipped from perhaps halfway across the world. And like you're saying, it's not ripe at the time. It's just going to be ripe by the time we actually get it in the stores and onto our tables. So that's an amazing point that you just mentioned there. And then it also adds to having more variety in our eating regime as well. We should not be eating the same foods day in and day out. There's certainly certain vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients within the food. If we're always having the same thing, we're going to get too much of one thing and not enough of something else. So more variety is certainly better. And when in doubt, just go to your local market and talk to some of the staff over there and say, well, what's in season? And we might be able to give you recommendations that you normally wouldn't be eating just because, there are cultural differences that we're watching out for as well. My background is Greek Macedonian, so there's things that we'll normally eat which are great in and of itself, but we could be missing out on other cultures and the foods that they consume.
That makes sense. I also ask the local growers how they grow the food. I want to know what chemicals they're using on the food, things like that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, because the more information that we have, the better off we're going to be in the long run. And if you are going to be consuming food, say from the Dirty Dozen list, there's actually fruit and vegetable washes that you can get your hands on at certain health food stores that are out there. So just a matter of speaking to the experts on staff and saying, well, here's what I'm eating and what can I do to rinse off the pesticides. We're always looking at damage control. Something's either take you closer to optimal health or further away from it. So we want to be aware of what the food is, what's been done to it, how it's affecting our body. Certainly some key points to consider. Something else I would say, this time of year, is the relationship that a person has with the food. You can have the ideal nutrition plan laid out for you, but if you can't stand eating something, you're not going to adhere to it. Maybe you're tired of just the same things day in and day out. So a lot of times a person's better off with something that's maybe 80% of the ideal program, but you're going to be 100% compliant on, rather than 100% perfect program, whatever perfect is. You sit there, it's like, oh, not this stuff again. I can't stand it. Whenever I look at it, I just want to gag.
That makes perfect sense, and all those things are excellent. Well, we just need to be thinking about what we're putting in our bodies. When the water, thinking about the sources and the purity of the water.
Yeah. I'd say another thing to consider is the company that we're keeping while we're eating as well. So you may enjoy the food, but just not like the company, and that could be a problem. And that's something I've dealt with clients in the past and saying, well, okay, how do you feel when you're having this kind of meal? Do you look forward to spending time with friends and family? Or is it just one of those things where you're in the room with a certain individual, the negative from that offsets any of the positives of the whole occasion.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah. Well, it's like, everything kind of vibrates on its own frequency. I find there's some people out there that you can walk into a room, you don't even know that they're there, and you can pick up on their negative energy. So it's just a matter of putting yourself in a feel-good state. Um, and I'm just going to go on a little bit of a tangent. There's a nutritionist that I took a 12-week course with. And the funny thing is with her, her younger sister had a very poor diet. Eat a lot of junk food, processed stuff, heavy duty smoker, drank a fair amount of alcohol, but she had a great relationship with the stuff that she was ingesting in her body and never got sick. And meanwhile, the nutritionists will put clients on certain plans there, and because of the negative relationship with things, it's like, they're in worse health than her sister. And I'm not encouraging people to go out and intentionally abuse their bodies on a regular basis and say, well, I feel good about putting all this stuff in. It's a matter of finding, say, the lesser of the evils. So, if you are going to have something, enjoy it for what it is. And, instead of, say, hard liquor, like, maybe there's ice wines or something that a person can get into, which is less damaging to your system and your liver. So it's about taking baby steps away from the stuff that's really detrimental to your health and going more into the direction of something that is healthier. So not everybody can kind of stop cold turkey and go from just poor eating and drinking habits to optimal overnight. So certainly recognize the relationship that you have with whatever that you're ingesting in your body, saying, is there a healthy alternative that I can do more of, say, a lifestyle shift rather than a lifestyle change with? Any thoughts about that, Willie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you try to make too drastic a change too fast, you're likely to not stick with it. So I agree with you, gradual changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And something to consider as well, like, we're only as good as, say, our last meal, and also have a certain amount of self-compassion. So if you do fall off the wagon for whatever reason, don't beat yourself up over the head with it. Like, things happen for whatever reason. Maybe you're just busy and you're on the road a lot, and either you go hungry because, like, you didn't bring any food with you, or you have to go to a fast food restaurant to get something in there. So it's like, well, you're getting some kind of calories in there, but just because you cheated a little bit, don't write off the entire day. Just appreciate it for what it is and just do a better job of preparing next time around.
Excellent advice.
Well,
I
let's
think
talk.
it's also important to enlist the help of your friends and family. Let them know that you want to eat healthier, and or give them permission to remind you from time to time if you're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the whole accountability side of it. That's certainly a big part of it. And let friends and families know that perhaps you have special nutrition concerns ahead of time, or whereby you just can't indulge in some of the food that they may be serving. In my case, it's more of, say, dairy issues. So anything with milk, cream, or cheese is going to be a concern for me. So I just let people know ahead of time. I go, you don't have to cater to me. It just let me know when I'm there, it's like, what I can and cannot have.
Uh,
That's certainly a big part of it. And people shouldn't feel guilty about mentioning that they do have certain issues with whatever that they're consuming. Not everybody, is at optimal health, and you have to take your own health into your own hands. That's certainly a big part of it.
absolutely.
Yeah, but I do like what you say about the whole accountability side of it. And I find that if I've got somebody that I'm answering to, I'm more likely to stick with things until it becomes a habit, rather than if I'm not answering to somebody, then I feel I'm only letting myself down. And the interesting thing is, it's just sometimes we're overly concerned about our commitments to others, but we don't put the commitment to ourselves at the same level. I'm not saying neglect the commitments to others, but at the end of the day, we do have to watch out for ourselves too. So there's different approaches with that for sure. I'd say it's a balance between an accountability partner, but then, being true to yourself.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. So it's all great tips. Um, do you want to tell them, since the package is available already, what's the best way to get it? You
Yeah.
have it.
Okay, so I'll put the link in the box over here. Okay, so if you visit the stavroumethod.com, which is www.thesta as in Victor, ROU, M as in Mary, BTHOD.com. You can grab the package from there. And the way I see it, it's an investment in yourself. Sometimes people will say, well, there's tons of resources out there that are free on the internet. Why do I want to invest that type of money into it? You got to ask yourself, well, what's your time worth as far as finding the same information that our 20 plus contributors actually collaborated on and put a considerable amount of time into the package? And at the same time, can you really decipher the information that's out there? Some people have a vested interest in promoting certain things. It's like, oh, well, you have to take this particular supplement, but meanwhile, theirs is supposedly the best one on the market. So what I've done is just it's an unbiased approach to what's out there, and basically guiding people along the way as well. So where you're at right now, and based on how you answer the questionnaires, gives you an idea what direction to go in. So as far as, say, the nutrition side of the package, there are a number of authors out there that'll talk about their approach being the best for everybody on the face of the planet. But if they don't know you personally, how do they know what to really recommend to you? Are they testing you, say, for food allergies, intolerances, insensitivities? What's your current lifestyle like? Are you one of those people where you're comfortable having, say, 5 to 7 meals on a daily basis every couple of hours? Or do you feel better, say maybe 2 or 3 larger meals and perhaps like some tiny snacks along the way? So that's something that I do cover in a fair amount of depth within the package. So I'd say certainly visit the site, thestavroumethod.com, see what it's all about, and make that investment in yourself. And it does come with 100% money back, 45-day guarantee on it, no questions asked whatsoever. So there's no risk to you whatsoever.
Yes, and I don't think you can really put a price on your health. I mean, once you let it deteriorate, it's very difficult to get it back to the optimal level. So that's the most important thing you can spend money on.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And that's a very good point. And what sets this package apart from a lot of the other ones that are out there, it's more of a preventive approach to health and wellness. So, it's not to say that you're never going to get sick or succumb to some kind of illness or disease or anything like that, but it's just a matter of arming you with the right knowledge and resources to minimize the chance of something happening. With a lot of the research that we've both done, about 80% of illnesses and diseases can be prevented or at least minimized from happening in the first place. So figure if you take more of a proactive approach, like how's it saying going? Like kind of escaping right now. It's like announce a
So
discipline.
prevention is worth a pound of cure, perhaps?
That's right. Yeah. I was drawing a little bit of a blank there. Yeah, it's that type of idea. So if you are, proactively being preventative along the way, then it's less work and resources you have to put to regain your health once it's lost. Well, Willie, I'm noticing the time here. I see that we have hit the half-hour mark, and I certainly want to stick with our agreed time with our Facebook audience. So I'd say we can just wrap it up here, and we can have the video up and running a little bit later on this afternoon.
That sounds great. Sounds great, George.
Okay. Well, thanks again for your time, everyone. So I'll have the video posted later on this evening, along with the links to the website and mine and Willie's email address, as well as the link to the site that talks about the fiber-rich foods. And we can call it a day from there. Okay. Thanks, Willie. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.